Good afternoon and welcome to Bourbon Bikes and Business with Hank and Blaise. Mr. Hank, how you doing today?
Blaise? Great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Finally getting back at it here. Today I think we're just going to do some recapping because we haven't been on for a couple weeks again. We got to get back on the road here.
You look svelte over there, man. You look gaunt.
I've been working on my intermittent fasting for I think almost a month and a half. And I think I've dropped 12, 13 pounds pretty easily.
Good. You know, climbing the hills of Pennsylvania will also help too.
That was a good starting point.
Yeah. I'm down 11. I'm
Really?
down 10 or 11 now. And
Wow.
I started with a 6 right off the trip.
Yeah, you said I only lost, I think, 3 with the trip. So I think mine is more the intermittent fasting and my total gym, which I got back on. Haven't been on for, I bet, a year or two. I mean, my other half's been on the total gym for a year now after she runs, and she loves it. And she's dropped 30 pounds in the last year doing the intermittent fasting. So she finally coaxed me into trying it. Who's calling us?
I think it's aliens from another planet. They want to get on the show.
Anyway, so I got an interesting sip. I have a very interesting sip today. So
Yeah.
tell me if you've ever had this. So let me describe it. It is a small batch, single barrel select rye. Looks like it was barreled in February of 17, so that's a little over 7 years old. 115 proof. And it was on sale. It was like $20.
Who is it?
$20 off.
Who's the distiller? Oh, yeah, the Knob Creek.
I've never had their single barrel select. So this is
Where do you get? So I have the single barrel select bourbon, but I do not have a rye. That could be really good.
They only had one bottle there. So and I've never had
Where
this.
was it? Your secret stash?
At my secret store.
Yeah, your Honeywell. Well, so here's the thing.
20 minutes away.
There's no pour on my side today because I wasn't thinking about it, and I got a craving for chocolate milk, and I just drank a whole big thing of chocolate milk. So I don't think that mixes well with bourbon. But here's what I will say. Actually, here. This is what's left over in my chocolate milk. Just so you know I'm not lying.
Yeah, I figured you were because you never drink chocolate milk, at least on a bike ride.
Every now and then. So, not during bike riding, no. So, I was up in Boston this past weekend, the last trip of my spring hockey extravaganza. And, you know, they have some good Total Wine and More up there, and they have some good bourbon huntings. Couple things. So, I brought back a couple nice bottles. I got a little book, you know, Booker's Little Book, 8th edition. Got it for a good price. Nice. Even though the lady at the store tried to talk me out of it. I'm telling you, every time I go in there, never talk to the people who actually work there because they're always trying to steer you towards the house brands for commissions.
Yeah. She's
trying to tell me how Little Book isn't good and that price is unreasonable. I'm just looking at her shaking my head.
Come over here. We have this private label.
Yeah, right. Here's the Wolcott. Every review that I see online is like, this is a banger. So I'm not listening to that lady. So there's one. I still have to try it. 2, I got a Four Roses single barrel, which is the regular one, but barrel proof. And for a pretty good price, about $100. So I grabbed that. And then the third one I got. Have you tried the Still Austin stuff yet? So it's out of Texas.
This is gonna kick. Woo.
I got a bottle of Still Austin, which I wanted to try, but I got the cask strength. It's an interesting flavor because it's you know, the Texas whiskey tastes different.
I was gonna say it must be the water, probably.
It's the heat.
Oh, really?
It's the heat down there. Because they have much shorter seasons and much more like the seasonality is much different than like Kentucky, for example. So
interesting.
It's got a very like mocha, corny wood taste. It's an interesting taste, which I didn't like right off the bat. And then I kept sipping it, and it started growing on me. So
it's an
I'll give you a
taste
taste next time you're over.
Different. Yeah. This is nothing like Knob Creek I've had before. I mean, I guess I've had the Knob Creek, the black label, the normal Knob Creek, which I like. I think I've had the regular rye, but this is like jacked up rye. It's like really, it's a little hot, but stays with you. The flavor stays with you. It's
I bet that's good.
see, it feels hotter than 115, but whatever. It's probably be good with a Coke.
I feel like we need to have a little sharing session coming up soon.
Yeah,
here. Bring
I
out
think
a
we
few
need to
bottles.
do that. That's another thing. I didn't add it to my list today, but last week I got an invite. Jeremy Poling, I think you might know him, with the lending company. He invited me over to a friend of his who has a farm not far from you, just south of you, and he called it a Prohibition Soiree. And everybody was dressed up. I told him I'd come and take some pictures, which I did. But
was it Danny's farm?
It was Fingerboard, right where Whiskey Run, where the golf course is down there. I'd never been there. Really cool building, and actually, I forget her name that has it. It's Airbnb, and you could have a private party up to 100 people there if you want. So if you ever need a corporate place or something to have a party. Anyway, there must have been almost 70 to 100 people there. But he and a couple of friends pulled out their private stash. They had Stag. They had, what's the big one? Pappy. They had about 6 bottles that they did a tasting. And it was free. It was by invite only.
Wow.
And then a couple of my friends bought their own bottles, and I had a couple of theirs. So, and I had gone to happy hour before that on my networking group. And then I was there from 6 to 10, so it was a long night.
Yeah, that is a long night.
Yeah. So, but I took some pictures. I had a great time. But it was
great.
I got to sit Pappy. I'm trying to think of the Buffalo Trace they had there. I'd never heard of it. And weirdly, all these bottles were in the 125 to 132 proof. They were really high proof bottles and $1,000
Stag
bottles.
is up there. It's 130 plus.
Yeah. If I think of the other one, I think. And the other thing I wanted to mention, I was listening to, who's the guy on YouTube down in Kentucky that's very famous on the bourbon tasting. Drawing a blank.
The bigger dude with the good.
The guy that wears the tie. What's his name?
I don't know.
He's always wearing like a silk tie. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
he was talking about the bourbons to watch in 2024, and I picked up a couple interesting ones. James E. Pepper. Have you ever heard of that?
Yep.
In this, have like a cool looking bottle.
Yep. It looks like a Bibb and Tucker bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's coming on strong lately. Yep.
Yeah. Because I'm seeing it pop up on all these other reviews on YouTube yesterday. The other one was, I think it was a Wisconsin. That's Kentucky based. This was a Wisconsin based not Glen Mills. Yeah, Glen Mills, not Glen Barrels.
The bottles will never show up.
Close. Glen's Mills is supposed to be a really good line that they have that are reasonably priced out of Wisconsin. Although I saw they don't sell any around here, so you'd have to look at their map. They're in New Jersey, not even anywhere near us.
I'm getting the feeling, if you look at what's going on with prices for bourbon right now, I mean, there's some big drops.
Drops, really?
I think, it's falling all over the place. You can get, like, E.H. Taylor's now for under $99, and, like, I'm seeing all kinds of deals left and right. I think especially...
It's
Well, it is the economy, yeah, but...
And they're overstocked.
I think it's gonna take a similar path to the craft brewery path. I think the whole market's gonna implode over the next few years because the bourbon prices got out of control, which induced all kinds of new distillers to come online. Right. And now you have so many different choices and so many different lines, and the prices are falling. I think the whole thing is going to implode in 2 years.
Good. Yeah.
It would be great for us. But the funny thing is that when the prices fall and it's so easy to get your hands on bottles, you won't want it anymore. Yeah. It'll be like another thing,
Right. There's no hype behind it. But it seems like any of these reviews I see, the average price is $50, $60, $70, $80 for a bottle. I mean, the
high-end stuff is coming down, for sure. Mm-hmm. The low-end stuff is staying where it is, but no one's buying the high-end stuff, or a lot less people are buying stuff now.
You're talking about like the $800 to $1,500 bottles.
Yeah. So, like a CYPB 2 years ago, you couldn't touch that for under $700. Now I'm seeing it on website after website for under $500. I mean, That is a significant drop.
Wow. I noticed the focus, at least on YouTube with bourbon, is the $50 to $70, $50 to $80 bottles is what everybody's reviewing. That seems to be...
Everyone's trying to look for the value. Everyone's trying to find the value bottle. I'm telling you, I think I covered this maybe on the last time we had our show. I have a pretty good collection. I have some pretty high-end stuff. My favorite currently is that 1792 Full Proof that you can get for $45. $45. Now, we don't have a lot of it down here, but you go up to Boston, it's all over every shelf you can find it.
I was looking for the old Granddad 114, couldn't find it. The other one they had that was on sale, which I've never had, and I don't drink it a lot, it was Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel, 96 proof, 98 proof. They had a really good price on that. I had that in my hands first, and then I went with this.
That's another one. 2 years ago, $125, at least in our area, you'd have to pay $125. Now you go store after store, there's a row of it for about $50, $60.
Yeah, it was normally like 54, and they had it on sale for 42. I should have bought it.
Yep,
42.
That's a prime example. The Toasted Barrel.
Yeah.
People were hoarding it. In fact, I still have a couple bottles that I hoarded because it was so hard to get. I don't even like the stuff.
Well, this bottle I bought, it said normal price was 52, I think, and it was on sale for $30.
Yeah.
So, that's a serious discount. 52 to 30? I mean,
it's just not flowing the way it was.
Yeah, anyway.
So that's a good thing for the consumer, though.
Yeah,
deflation.
I got a couple things to talk about this week. I'm really bummed because I took my bike in, when did I take, what's today, Wednesday? I took it in Sunday. So, I had to get another $100 rear tire. So, number one, I spent $200 rear tires in 2 months.
You popped another tire? Or it's just a replacement for the new one?
Well, I got the flat tire after our trip on the rear, on the new tire. Then I put my old 55, 52 tire on there. I got a flat on that. Same kind of, right in the middle, it was leaking. And I was pumping air in it for a couple of rides. And then I was like,
patch?
No. So,
sealing?
Wouldn't seal. Nope. It's like, I don't know if I'm going over some spot that's got these glass or metal pieces in it wherever I'm riding. And so I had to buy a new one. So I took.
Did you try to use the bacon strip?
No, I didn't.
On it?
No, but there's not much tread left on it. So I ordered a new black one. I ordered the Hurricane Ridge 44 by 700. So then I took it in to put the brake pads on because I didn't have any rear brakes. They were gone. So I've been riding with just front brakes for a while now.
I remember you flying down the 10-mile hill without any brakes, delirious.
Yeah. So I'm getting a rear tire put on and then putting my old valves back in and then brake pads. And then the last 3-4 rides, I'm getting this clicking noise in my crank. I'm like, no. They said they would check it out. They said it might be just some grease. They said it might be a bottom bracket. I said, I just put a bottom bracket in last April, so it can't be the bottom bracket. Guess what they called me yesterday? They said, the bottom bracket. It's totally dry. It's already gone.
What the hell are you doing to that bike?
How can I go through a bottom bracket in 12 months? The original
you put a lot of miles on.
But the original one I had on for 2 years, maybe 3. How long have I had that bike?
I've never gone through a bottom bracket, ever.
Me neither. Now, 2 in 2 years? Give me a break. I don't know whether I believe them. I think they probably just should have greased the damn thing. Anyway. So now I'm getting a bottom bracket. And then I took it in Sunday. I called, we're backlog. We might have it done Friday. I'm like, so no bike all week.
See, really, and this is why I became my own mechanic. I got tired of being at the mercy of their schedules that are unreasonable, the mercy of their pricing that's unreasonable. Just, I'll fix it myself. Thank you very much.
I gave it to him Sunday. I said, you can keep it a day or two. I know you're going to close Monday, so I figured, Tuesday night. So I called Tuesday. Friday, maybe. What the hell?
It's ridiculous.
Anyway.
Let me tell you about my new purchase.
Yeah, what do you got?
It's a little ridiculous, but... So, I got that, the newly built up road bike, the Falleth Evo, the Henry Martin Law bike.
One time, right?
Oh, no, I've put some miles on it. I've put some good miles on it. Rode it on the Tour de Frederick. Mm-hmm. It's nice. But I didn't feel like the wheels were as fast and accelerating as I wanted them to be.
What wheels did you have on? Bone Tracker, or what did you have?
No, they're just they're my DIY carbon Chinese whatever.
Okay.
So I started looking at it, and I was like, they're 40 millimeter deep. I kind of like to go 50. That's such an aero bike, right?
What?
So I start looking around. And there's some really good wheel deals out there right now. So I start looking at Hunt. Hunt's got some,
Right.
and then I started looking at Evolve, and then I start looking at Super Team, and Super Team's got these wheels, carbon spokes,
What is Super
50
Team?
millimeters deep, that are under 1,400 grams for the set at 50 millimeters deep. They're $13.95. Carbon spoke, got great reviews. The hubs are actually made by DT Swiss. So they were like, for the top end set, it was like $1,400. So that's a little much. And then I was going back and forth whether I want them for my road bike, which is rim, or my Falith Evo, which is disc. I'm like, man, I'd really like 50s on my rim brake. I'm going back and forth. So I found that if I just went to last year's model, which still has the big carbon spokes and similar weight, but it doesn't have like these gimmicky marketing benefits that they came up with in the last year, they had them on sale. So I got 2 pairs. I got 1 pair for my road bike and 1 pair for my disc bike, my Falith Evo, for $1,500 together.
2 pair for $1,500.
2 pair for $1,500. They arrived in 4 days.
The other half's not watching this video, this podcast.
No, we cut her off of the blog. So I have those. They're sitting in my office right now. I got to pick those up and throw those on. But that should be a nice addition.
Is that Chinese made? Where I've never heard of them before.
Yeah. Check out so all my other wheels. A lot of my other wheels are Super Team as well. You can get the lower end ones. In fact, you can get these on Amazon also. But they've really they're kind of like the new Far Sports. Like, came out of nowhere and they're like mainstream now. But the price hasn't
make any mountain bike tires like for my Cuddy?
You should look.
I mean, wheels?
I think they do. They are, the newest ones are putting DT Swift's 350 hubs in them. Like, they're legit. And actually, did they have someone who rode them in the Tour? They might have been ridden in the Tour. I'm not quite sure, but
really?
They're legit now. Yeah.
What'd you think of between the Tour and the Olympics? How about the American woman winning the gold in the Olympics? That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
And just left
I didn't get to see any of the Tour.
Riders in the dust. That was just crazy. I mean,
yeah.
Hardly ever heard of her, and there she is. Just
I don't know how you cut. Usually, when you're watching cycling and someone is that far ahead of everyone else and comes out of nowhere, there's usually a story that follows up.
Yeah, but I haven't heard it yet. I keep waiting to hear what the other 3 bigwigs that are normally up front. They just looked at each other and didn't go. Like, were they? I don't know. Nobody said why they didn't go. It's sort of weird. But
yeah, I don't know. I didn't see it, so I can't really comment. But I can say, usually when you get a cycling event where there's someone who pops way out in front of everyone else, it raises a question mark. I didn't see any of the Tour de France.
You didn't see any of it?
I've been traveling the whole month of July. I've been all over the place.
Yeah, I watched bits and pieces. I think you see, what's his name, retired? Phil Liggett. Yeah, he's 81.
That's one of the primary reasons I watched it. Yeah. I mean, that voice is legendary.
I actually enjoyed what I did watch this year for the simple reason that there were different teams winning the races. There wasn't, and early, for the first half, it wasn't any one person blowing everybody away. I mean, as it got to the last week, it got evident there was only 2 people who were going to win. But it was, I think it's more interesting when you don't, back when like Team Sky was just beating.
I was just going to say, it's great when it's not just Sky all the time.
Or the same team.
Or Lance.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You knew what was going to happen.
Yeah. So it was enjoyable what I saw of it. I didn't. There's a guy from my hometown won the shot put second place. He got a silver.
That's
three
cool.
3 years in a row. He's won silver at the last 3 Olympics. And the same guy has won gold 3 years in a row. 2 Americans were first. His mother I went to high school with, and she threw
really?
shot put on our track team in the women's side.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. So Joe Kovacs.
Yeah, that is neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about, well, I might be going to Atlanta in a couple weeks to see Connor and visit her aunt in Stone Mountain. I think I mentioned before, Connor got engaged, so he's due to get married next spring in April. I haven't seen him for, I guess, 6 months or so. So I'm hoping I get down to Atlanta. I think we're going to go last week of August before Labor Day. And then my cousin in Colorado, I've been talking to, she's going to Morocco with her daughter who just graduated law school. And then her daughter's coming back for her fiance. She got engaged too. Everybody's getting engaged this year. It's really weird. And then, I just found out my life insurance guy, Kyle Murphy, got engaged this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So she said she's going to go visit her friend in Italy after that, go to Greece, and then maybe even stay as long as December 1. So she said, why don't you come out and watch the house? She said, I'll be gone at least from September 8th to November 1. And then she just emailed me today and said she has a tenant upstairs. She had renovated her house and moved downstairs since she retired, I think 2 years ago. So she said, hey, my tenant's, he travels a lot. I forget what he does, something with orchestras around the world. So he's going to be gone from the end of September to the end of October. So you're welcome, you and Christina, come out and stay in the house upstairs.
Wow. Hold on. So is that your relative out in Colorado?
Denver.
Or are you talking Georgia?
No,
Okay.
Denver. So two different trips. One, her aunt's in 15 minutes from Connor, so we'll probably just go down for a week around just before Labor Day. But I'm trying to convince her to go to Colorado for 2, 3, 4 weeks. But
wow,
I don't know. She probably won't go.
That'd be nice.
Maybe I'll go by myself for a little bit. I don't know. We'll see.
I might have to fly out there for a few days.
Yeah,
that'd be nice to do some riding out there.
The middle end of September, it's like 75 degrees and sunny. It's just gorgeous, beautiful.
Is it hard to fly the bike out there?
No, I don't think so.
No?
Find a carrier that'll let you.
Do you usually fly your bike, or you drive?
I drive.
Right?
I drive out.
Yeah.
2 days,
Huh.
2.5 days.
Okay.
So yeah, what else do you got going on? Anything else?
Well, I've just been thinking about what our next little trip's going to be. A few things that I have on my mind. I wrote you about some of them. At some point, it'd be good to do maybe like Pittsburgh down to Hancock.
Right.
Not as gnarly as the Pants route. Just a fun little adventure, camp out a night or two, and, not kill ourselves like we usually do.
Yeah.
And actually complete something. That would be fun.
Right.
I'd also like to do here, we got to schedule one of our annual Lancaster rides. Like to do that. And I can give you a road bike if you need me to. No. I'm staying away from the gnarly stuff for a while. I got PTSD from that Pants route. So that's 2. And then 3, we should start talking about, maybe not now, but maybe like November-ish, how we want to address that unresolved issue.
Right.
If we want to just write it off, or we want to, next year we want to try the last 2 days that we never got to complete, start at Homan's and ride the rest.
I think that would be a good trip, the 2 days trip where you do it spring or fall, one or the other. I think if it's 70, 75, it's doable for sure. I mean,
I'm going to pack a lot lighter.
Yeah,
which you can if it's 2 days instead of 4. It makes a huge difference.
If we stay at a hotel, that place halfway, and we don't have to take any tents and gear.
Right.
10, 15 pounds off easily.
And actually, Homan's was 16 miles already in.
Yeah.
The more I think about it,
but
in retrospect, I know I was hurting at the time, but that was only, I think, like a 60-some mile day.
Really?
And we were already at 16. And the more I think about it, I'm like, maybe we could have gotten a nice snack at Homan's and recharged and gone after it. But one, we didn't know Homan's was there by the time we caught the ride. That last day would have been 101 miles and 96-degree heat. That day would have been...
That would have been dangerous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I you know how it is. You give it a second thought like, could we have done it? But then you think about that last day, and I was driving up through the mountains on that last day because we were going up to Pittsburgh, I think, just looking at those things up. And I was just like, nope, we weren't going to do it. So,
I got a proposition.
So those are the couple rides that I have in mind.
If you want to do a spur of the moment thing, are you here Sunday? This week?
Maybe.
So
my weekend. So here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what my weekends are like. I got 2 more weekends before regular season hockey starts,
Right.
at which point all weekends are off. Now, Evan came to me the other day when we were in Boston, and he said, I was talking to Mom, which is always like we start going off the wrong path. She says, the basement, we don't really use the basement all that much. We have like a finished media room down there.
Right.
So we don't really use and a pool table. Right. We don't really use the basement all that much except for the media room area. How about we cut it in half and keep the media room and use the other half as an ice rink? We put my synthetic ice down and you put up a wall and it's an ice rink for me to practice shooting and goalie and stuff. So I think for the next 2 weekends, that's going to be my project. I got to build out a wall. I got to put down the synthetic ice, and I got to switch furniture all around the house. 3 levels of switching furniture, carrying pool tables upstairs, couches I got to get rid of, my drum set I got to move out. So I think that's what I'm up to the next couple weekends.
If you have a recliner chair, I'll take one. You want to get rid of
I have a couch. You need a couch?
No, I got 2 freaking couches here. I hate the couches he has. I need a chair to watch TV.
We do have a recliner down there, but the boys are begging me to keep it. They really like it. So.
No, here's what I had this weekend. Ian next door, right? Who hasn't been riding much at all this year. He's been kayaking. He's going to Chile, he's telling me. Anyway, he said, hey, what are you doing Sunday? I said, why? Because we had talked about doing this before. He said, I got a bunch of guys. How many? I said, I don't know, 6 or 7. They're going to do the CNO in one day, Sunday.
Isn't that like 322 miles or something?
No, it's only 189, I think. So
only 189.
Yeah. Okay. Leaving Cumberland like 2 in Saturday night and
riding
to DC
no way.
in one day. Yeah. So
I say that, but that first day of the pants route, we did like 90 miles straight uphill.
This is twice that, but you're flat. Yeah, no elevation.
Probably do 150.
Yeah.
And then you start hurting.
So Ian says to me, he goes, I don't know if I could do 180, 189, but maybe I'll ride from Cumberland to here, Point of Rocks, which would be 50 less. So that's like 150.
Yeah. That's fair.
I could probably do 150.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll do that someday. I don't know. We'll see.
You don't even have a bike.
Well, I'm due to get it back Friday, I hope. If I get it Friday, I can
theoretically.
I could do it theoretically. So
there's always some hiccup that happens, and you end up getting it 2 weeks later.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
So,
I have bikes if you need them.
Yeah. Hey, last thing I want to mention, this is my business-wise. There's a law that the feds passed in March that goes into effect September 1, which is people that have short-term health insurance plans. So since COVID, people that lost their subsidy or couldn't afford a health exchange plan because they had no subsidy went out and bought, because they were solicited, by text and phone calls all over the country, short-term health plans. And typically a short-term health plan is not considered major medical. It's not that good of a plan. It's very affordable. So like a 50-year-old that normally be paying $700 to $1,000 for a health exchange plan could buy a short-term plan for $350, let's just say. So that's why they buy them, right? Even though they don't look at how well they're going to cover them if they have a major claim. And so a lot of people bought them, but now the government is always getting involved. Even though the states regulate things, the government said we want to do away with that. So they're saying effective September 1, if you have a short-term plan, it's only good for 3 months, which they've always been good for 3 months. But you used to be able to renew it through underwriting each 3 months. So as long as you were healthy.
Hold on.
You could keep
So people have insurance plans that are only 3 months.
3 months by definition is a short-term plan, and then they could renew it, or they call
Why do they do that?
Because it's cheap, so they just keep getting it. Now they have to qualify every 3 months, and so now they changed the law September 1. If you have it, it's only good for 3 months. You can extend it 30 days, so you can have it 4 months. But after that, you can't get another one. You can't renew it again.
What the hell does it matter to the government?
They want to drive everybody to the health exchange plans. They want everybody to have major medical. So
I still don't understand, though, why people are getting health insurance 3 months at a time if they have to renew. Like, that seems like a major headache.
It's cost. Because they buy it, they don't even know what they're buying. It's not a good plan.
Okay.
If they have a big claim, they could owe 10, 20, 30 grand. So they just buy it because of the cost. They never look at the details. But anybody that has one of these really needs to get with somebody like me or a health consultant and look at options. Because the downside is if they stay with what they had and then, okay, they extend it for 30 days, and guess what? If they're outside open enrollment, they can't go buy the health exchange plan. So in the middle of the year, they have no coverage. They have to wait until next January to go get a plan. But that was passed in March, and it's going to affect September 1. Now, there's 14 states that have already outlawed it. Maryland is one of them. So you can't roll it over in Maryland. But there's a lot of other states where millions of people have these plans, and I'm licensed in other states outside of Maryland. So I expect to get a lot of calls or referrals between now and the end of the year for those people. Because they're going to get notices in August that this is changing. Whether they read it or not is another thing. But when they go to renew it and find out they can't go buy a plan, you know?
Right.
I mean, so that's one thing that's going on right now.
What a disaster.
And the last thing I had was there's the Bike Dr. Gran Fondo is October 26th. I photographed it last year. I don't know if I want to do the ride this year. It's a fun ride. It's gravel. It's mostly gravel, probably 50-50 gravel and roads. A lot of climbing out here in Frederick County.
Where are the riding events where it's mostly downhill? Like, where can I find those? That's just like one downhill after another.
Go up to Jim Thorpe, PA, where I grew up, that you catch the train. Seriously? They take you up to Lock Haven and you ride down the bike.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or the Virginia Creeper down in Virginia. You take the train for a bus up, and all you do is ride down the hill.
Did you ever notice, like, every ride is just uphill? It's always uphill.
Yeah. Although, since our ride, I don't know, I've been riding a lot stronger. I've been setting a lot more, best times.
PRs?
Everything. Not even trying, not even thinking about it. I think it's because I'm in better shape, and maybe losing the weight now, too, is probably helping, too.
The weight. It's so much easier. You 10 pounds, and it's a whole different world.
It is. It really, you feel so much faster and stronger. Now, I almost had an accident the other day on the CNO. I was, chugging along like 20 miles an hour, coming back to almost Point of Rocks. And there was a family ahead of me, and I should have slowed down. But I decided to go zipping past them. And as I go zipping past them, I see this little girl on the bike in the front of the family.
Oh, no.
Shit. So I'm like, oh, I went like that. And I looked up, and here's a guy coming right at me.
Oh, no.
On the other side. So what do? I could go into the girl. So I go into the woods to the left. And there I am, almost off my bike. And I catch the edge of a pine tree that was bare, and it gashed into the front of my left calf. I didn't even feel it. So I got back to the car, and I looked down. I'm like, oh, shit, my whole leg's bleeding. Here I have this gash straight across the front of my left calf. Luckily, it wasn't too deep, so I got off lucky, but I got to slow down when I'm passing.
Well, I've been I've done a few rides, but I'm doing, every August, I do a challenge where I run 100 miles in August. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm not riding much. It's mostly all running. And I'm up to about 25 miles now on the 7th of August.
I should start that too. My challenge in September would be
hard, dude.
Run 1 mile in September. So I'll take a little at a time.
It's very hard. I gotta run 4 miles almost every day. I get
Christina
like one rest day a week.
5 to 6 every other day, so she's probably runs close to that. I don't know.
Yeah, she probably, if she's running 5 to 6 every other day, probably, that's
I don't know how many days.
About 15, 5
to 80 maybe.
Like 7. She's probably around 80 miles.
So she's only 20 miles short on long run.
But that's a lot.
I hate running. I don't know.
I don't like it either.
Where are you running up the hills around your house?
No, I'll run down to the trail and then run the trail, which is pretty much flat, and then I walk back up Eagle Head because it's too murderous to run. I have run it.
You run on trail like soft stuff versus a pavement.
Yeah, the gravel trail that we ride on down there by the lake.
That's probably easier on your legs, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I got a good routine going. So I walk Tucker, which is 1.25 miles back on the trail, and I wear a weighted vest while I do that. So it's like rucking. I call it ruck with tuck. So I ruck with tuck for 1.25 miles. Then I come back and I go on my 4-mile run, come back, and so I run 4 miles, and then I walk back about a half a mile up Eagle Head, the 15% grade hill.
Right.
And then I come in and I do the sauna for a half hour. While the sun is warming up, I'll do crunches. Then I go in the sauna for a half hour. And then that's like my workout.
Look into that sauna. That's cool.
Great.
But then you said you have a cool down bath thing or something too?
It comes with a cold tub. Since it's 90 degrees outside, it's not getting very cool. I got some ice blocks for it. But come October, late September, October, that will be like a nice addition.
Just to put your legs in probably be good for recovery.
Yeah. I use it right now, but it's like sitting in a bathtub. It's not doing much for me.
Right.
So,
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Anything else you got?
That's it.
Cool.
Hockey starts in 2 weeks. Let's go. Big year.
I don't know how you do it. I bitch because my kids never played sports, but I don't know if I kept up with what you do. Holy
I've mentioned on the show before, it is cool going to different cities. Like, I've always enjoyed the adventure of driving to new and far off places and seeing different cities. So that part is cool. Now, doing Boston 3 times in one summer, that's a little much. I already know all the like places to go to, where to get the lobster roll and everything up there. You know, during the season, you're going to different places. So we'll be up and down 95 from North Carolina up to Connecticut. Then we're going to Detroit, New York, and Ohio twice. So we'll see different places. It will be cool.
Yeah. Did you have a good time in North Carolina when you were down there?
Yeah, good Outer Banks visit.
Nice.
It was quick, but you know, we did all the things. We did the beach. We did jet skiing. We saw some wild horses. It was neat.
Nice. I'd like to get down there in the fall. I have a college buddy. He said, come down anytime. I got like 8 houses. You can rent one out. He said he'd give me friend and family rate. I think he's in Kill Devil Hills, but I think his properties are down closer to Hatteras. But yeah, cool. All right, sounds good. So everybody, like, subscribe. Let us know if you'd like to get on the show. Looking for people to come on as guests going forward. I have been talking to a couple people. I have a friend, Brandon, who's a big bourbon guy, so I might get him on the show. All I got to do is schedule it. So he said he'd be interested.
What would be a really good show?
What?
Is if we found someone who doesn't drink bourbon at all, like a true beginner,
that would be
and gave them like a blind taste, and for them to tell us, like, 1, if they like it, and 2, what they thought of each one, and that might be a fun show.
I'll have to think of who I know that might be open to something like that. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Good to see you, Hank.
All right. Good to see you.
See everybody. Take care.
Talk to you later. Peace
Till
out.
next time. Bye.